Brothers and sisters, boys and girls, the current quantity martin. As we celebrate our 50th year of struggles with people for independence, let us not give thanks and praise the Almighty God. And to all our brothers and sisters who have made the foundation, not love. What's that, Hebrew? Oh, the big if they kidnap me from Africa, then we all over the Caribbean. Ancestors, but I want hope. Never give up the struggle. Never give up the struggle. I don't independence. So my we might I know what independence.
Hi. Hi. Yeah, I've been in for a while. Okay. Okay.
That's the only way we can up Grenada. Yes, give a hand.
Good night, good night. A pleasant good night to all Greater Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and to all of us in the diaspora. As far as Germany, there's a lot of folks from Germany that always listen to us. So we can pray and say happy independence to all our Grenadians at home and abroad. And tonight we have with us my dear friend and former honorary counselor, yes, Mrs. Dawn Francois. And I kind of try to get it right, pronounce it right. Tonight, don't want to mess the name up. Too dignified to have a name messed up on a national TV. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the hour you've been waiting for, and those of you who join us and be joining us, I hope you share, because we're in for an interesting night, which I call her the First Lady of Grenada. Yes, yeah, she is definitely a First Lady, and she's a distinguished lady, and I was sort of given a title to her by someone else, said that I was a knight in shining armor. Well, that turned out to be kind of a true in a way. From a diplomatic point of view, I normally, because of my background, I understand protocol. And whenever somebody that is in office, I give them the highest respect. Not wishy-washy, but delegate myself and life to honor people who honor is due. And tonight, my friend and your friend, your former Honorary Consul General of Toronto for Grenada, Mrs. Dawn Francois, welcome to Gem FM Genesis Magazine. She is also the awardee of the 2023 Leah Callis Award of Excellence for Community Service. So, Ms. Francois, good night and welcome to Gem FM.
Good night, John. I should say good night, Mr. Calix. You all dressed up. Thank you for having me tonight.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, tonight is a night, it's called Living the Dream. And for this show is to extract from our very beautiful, talented people in the diaspora who have made some significant contribution. And I thought it was fitting for Gem FM Genesis Magazine to highlight our people for their achievements and the commitment and dedication to Grenada in whatever area they serve in. And you are one of those persons that I saw it fit to have you on my show tonight. I hope this wouldn't be the first time, but I want to let more of us know more about you tonight. Your successes, your rise to stardom, if you will, to get to where you are. Very few people know who Don is. I didn't know who he was when I stood up in your defense. I just stood up and I get to know who he was after that. However, with that being said, Dawn Francois is with us tonight. And Dawn, I want to tell us tonight, as we go along, who is Dawn Francois? What's your origin? Where are you from? In Grenada, let me say, because you're Grenadian. So which part of Grenada you're from? Was raised, I say, where your navel string buried.
Who is Dawn Francois? A very humble person. I was born in St. George's. I was raised in Grand Mall. I was inducted into community service by my mother. I can say probably from the time I could know who I am. My mother was very involved in community work and politics. So a lot of that is in my veins from her. I went to St. Joseph Convent, and after leaving school, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but my mother was a teacher, so I thought that would be the first step. So I became a teacher at Miss Petit's School. And while I was at Miss Petit's School, I was offered a job at the Bank of Nova Scotia. So I then took that job in foreign exchange. And then I went on to work for Monk Cinnamon. And from there, I was hired by the then revolutionary government under Maurice Bishop to work in the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism, as the secretary to the CTO, who was then Dennis Noel, and the permanent secretary, who was then Philip David.
Yeah.
And from that position, I left Grenada, came to Canada, and I was told that when I get to Canada, the first thing I should do is go to the Grenada consulate. So basically, from a very young age, I have been around the consulate. I have seen many consul generals come and go. I think it was 1916, 14, when there was a transition of former Consul Jenny Gums, the Minister of Foreign Affairs then, called me under the NDC government and asked me if I could help facilitate an incoming Consul General who's going to be here temporarily, and worked with the embassy in Washington. And that was Patricia Clark. So being a member of the OECS National Council here as a national outreach person, we sort of engage all the consulates. We host them to welcome parties, and we network with the various organizations who then become member of the council itself. So the consulate is no stranger to me. Like some people have said, you know where all the bones are buried. And I mean, I've been around for many years. If I start telling you the years, then you'll start to calculate my age. And I think I reached that age where I don't say it anymore. Not that it matters.
All right, all right. That's good.
But I will tell you for over 30 plus years that I have been around the consulate. And in 2019, well, let me just give you a little background of my journey here. It's difficult when you just come from the Caribbean, and back in the early 80s, and it still happens today, where they say you do not have Canadian experience. And I remember applying for this job, and they said, you don't have Canadian experience, but we can use you as a receptionist. And I thought, is that the only way you can get experience? So I took the job, and it was a placement agencies where they were placing accountants to various companies like the bank and large corporation like Ernst & Young. And it was quite interesting that you had to administer this test to them. And some of it was a math test, and they'll ask for a calculator. And I'm looking at it saying, are you serious? You're an accountant asking for a calculator? But then I found out that there was a part of the job that was not explained to me. And I was always raised to speak up. And sometimes I don't always speak up, and I take a lot until I can take no more. And then I eloquently express myself. So not to be misunderstood that I don't know how to defend myself. Sometimes it's not worth it. So I took that job, and then I left that job. As a matter of fact, I was hired on that job by another company, a placement agency that was looking for an administrative assistant. And I said, you can have me. And they said, well, we're asking you to help us find one. We can't take you. I said, I quit as of today. So I was hired by that company. And then I wanted to get into tourism because that was my passion. And that's why I left Grenada working for Ministry of Tourism. And they allowed me to keep the job and to go to school. So it was at that time, it was called Career Canada, which was part of George Brown and the Ryerson program when they linked it. So I took that position, and then I continued working with, it was MPMJ, it was a placement agency still then. And then they asked me, well, what is it you really want to do? And I said, I think I want to just travel the world. And they said, well, that would be like a flight attendant. You can do that. But then I thought, no, I'll be just living out of a suitcase, touching down and going. I wanted to be more active in that. So I got into the travel business, and I was hired. My first interview was with an Irish company called Maple Leaf Tours. And Maple Leaf Tours, I went in for the interview, and the gentleman, company was all Irish, there was no blacks, looked at me and he said, I will call you around 2:00. And I left and I went home and I waited and waited for that call. Never came. So I picked up the phone and I called him. The CEO was Mr. Maroney. And I said, Mr. Maroney. And he said, yes. I said, I had an interview with you this morning. And you said you were going to call me back, but you never did. And I could have gone on another interview and I may have gotten that job. And he said, can you give me 5 minutes and I'll call you back? And I said, sure. I said, then I know I'm not going on any other interviews today. Call me back in 5 minutes. And he said, Miss Francois? I said, yes. He says, I have no choice but to give you the job. Your tenacity of calling me and telling me I wasted your time. It's exactly the person I'm looking for.
Wow.
So he said, can you come in tomorrow? And I went in and he said, I am going to make you VP of marketing with no experience for Maple Leaf Tours. There's a airline in Ireland called Danair. You are going to be the rep for them here in Canada. And there was CIE Tours. He said, and you're also going to be the rep.
Wow.
And for about a year, I did that, and nobody knew that I was not Irish. So when I finally showed up to reception there, I mean, everybody jaws dropped because one of the major players in Canada in the Irish market, which was part of the Sun Wing, the Sun Quest, the Paramount Tours, the Adventure Tours, all of the tour companies bought this travel program from this company that I was repping. So when I was introduced, I mean, the jaws just dropped. And from there, GG Tours used to call in to Maple Leaf Tours to book from us. And George Gideon, who owned the company. And I said to him, he says, where are you from? And I said, I'm Grenadian. And he says, wow. He says, well, you know, we do tours to Trinidad and Jamaica and Guyana. And I said, how sad. You don't do Grenada. He says, I don't think there's money in the Grenadian market. So I said, well, hire me and you'll find out. Wow. And he says, I can't hire you for Maple Leaf Tours. And I said, well, I can quit tomorrow. I love my job, but I can quit tomorrow because I wanted to promote Grenada.
Yeah.
So I went on to GG Tours. And in 1989, I said to George, I said, do Grenada. And he said, it costs a lot of money to put on a flight, charter flights to a country. And being ignorant, I said, oh, you don't have to pay me salary then, just do it. And he looks at me and he says, all right, we'll consider it. We have been to Grenada on a cruise, Dawn. We'll consider it. And people like Ian Grant from Rome Travel came on board and we encouraged them. And charter flights to Grenada was birthed and bought and delivered then. Wow. So that's how the charter flight started. Then I was hired from that by American Express. And my role was to set up $1 million accounts. So I worked for Amex in setting up like accounts at Bank of Nova Scotia, Bank of Montreal, Abitibi Tours. And then I stayed with Globe and Mail newspaper for about 10 years, working for Amex, building their travel profile, negotiating hotels around the world, car rentals around the world for them, and managing their travel program. And from there, people started saying to me, you know, you're always around the consulate. Why don't you work for the consulate? You have given so much service in the community. I mean, I'm a paid member of the Grenada Association. I helped wherever I could. I emceed at the Grenada Association. I sell tickets. You know, I'm part of the 55 plus.
Right.
You know, and I thought about it, and you know, I said back then, I said, no, I'm around the office. I don't need to be the consul general. And I think it was 2014, 15. The PS said, Francois, I'm getting a lot of people recommending you for the position. Why won't you consider it? And I go, no, not now. So, and then it came another time I was asked the same question. And in 2020, I remember I was out with some friends and this lady said to me, she said, what does opportunity mean to you? And I wasn't sure where she was going with the question. So I looked at her She said, opportunities when you're prepared, and you have been prepared for this job all of this time. Why don't you apply for the job? And I thought about it, and this is the honest truth. I came home and I was standing in the mirror and I said, God, what is it you really want me to do? I know it has to do with people. I've been serving from a child with my mother. I've been serving the community. If you think this is right, so let it be.
Mhm.
And then I got a call and somebody said, why don't you apply for the job? And I said, okay. And I got a call again saying, why don't you send in your resume? And the process was then, you sent in your resume, the minister
Right.
called you, we had a chat. And then I was offered a position in the midst of COVID.
Okay.
So I started on September 1st in the midst of COVID.
Mhm.
There wasn't much that we could have done, but, tried to fine tune a few things in the office to make us a little bit more efficient and up to date as technology has been changing, and reaching out to people and ensuring that when they visit the office, we are able to assist them with whatever needs they are. And people just think that the consulate is just about passports. Come and get your passport renewed,
Yeah.
or something related to the taxes. But there's a lot more.
Tell us
And
about
there's
that.
one.
Tell us about that, because a lot of people think, as you said, it's just about passport. What is the real purpose of the consulate?
Well, it's mainly as representing the people here, that they can have a place to go when in need, when situation, as I say, like passport, exposing Grenada to import export, investment opportunities, helping students to ensure that when they're here studying, they're registered, that if something should happen, we know how to assist them. Even nationals here need assistance back home. People call us for anything, even shipping a dead body. We have to be versed on that. But primarily, we are here to serve the people and to export, I should say, let me rephrase that, to ensure that we can build on the import-export relationship. Because we import a lot from Canada, but our export to Canada is very limited, very small.
Right.
Even the farm workers program, we have the farm workers program that was done very well by Mr. Blaze in Montreal. It's something that needs to be looked at here in Ontario. The numbers are down, but I mean, it's understandable during COVID, the numbers did go down, but I think from my tenure, my 2 years of service, which is what the government gives these days in serving in office, is 2 years. And I must say, I was very appreciative that this government allowed me to serve my 2 years. I think some people thought that I was gone right after the election because, I was politically
that has to be a trigger. People had their hands on the trigger to have you fired, to get you out of there before the prime minister even decided to do that.
Right.
Just today, I had a discussion with someone along the same lines, and about people just have this whip that they feel that if you're not a party supporter and a member of this party, you shouldn't be in that office and so on. But you're Grenadian, serving Grenada and Grenadians abroad. And I think it's unfair to you, coming from where you came from and rising to the top of where you are in this country, coming from your humble beginnings, right? And it seems to be, like, based on our present conversation, you have been recruited from a very young age to be in that position. So you have gained a wealth of knowledge and experiences to deal with that at that level, diplomatically speaking here, that you could be able to communicate with other nationals, not only Grenadian, but in the community. That you have forged an identity, a relationship with those communities. Tell me about that, because a lot of times people think, well, it's just being a consul general, but how is that working? How does that networking with the different communities, apart from just the Grenadian community, for you? How was that? What are the challenges that you face dealing with those things, and how you overcame them?
Well, And as I say, you know, like I engage outside of the consulate, and the people that I have engaged or the people I networked with really started from my beginning outside of the consulate. It didn't happen when I got into the consulate.
Right.
So what that did is it enhanced what I
Mm-hmm.
was doing in my capacity. I don't think I would say I had challenges. I mean, like everybody's entitled to an opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't do um, that sort of an attack on people as to who they support.
Right.
I have served the Grenada government in various capacities with all of the various governments that I've been in. As I said, I was employed by the revolutionary government.
Right.
The NDC government, then under Tillman Thomas, had reached out and asked me to assist and facilitate, a council general coming in, and I have done that with um, Council General Derek James. You know, so I've always been there. I've always been engaged to help host, whether it's a flag raising or speak at the church service or the Grenada Association. And I mean, and everybody knows that I've been out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the opportunity granted to me was also that I serve my country and serve my people inside Grenada and outside of Grenada. And I will continue to do that. Nothing changes. And
Right.
I was very pleased with the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, when he was here in in um,
In July.
in July.
Right.
We, you know, how we were able to communicate and, you know, what he saw and how he felt.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, to openly thank me for serving.
Right.
Um, but it's something we can't, I mean, when you're a public figure, you have to be thick skinned. You
Yes.
cannot take things personally. You
Right.
have to be able to calm people, and there are times when people,
Yeah.
it's not that they don't like you or they don't like you in the position,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I don't take those at heart, and these are the people I still reach out to and I greet
Right.
them because, you know, life is too short for that. You know, I've served my term, I've served
Mm.
it well, and I will continue to serve my country.
I want to talk to you a little bit about family because I know you have two daughters and
Yes.
you raised those two daughters and you had a lot of, based on what you just said here, you seems to have had your hand full with opportunities.
Yes.
How do you balance? And there's somebody now who probably, a young lady out there tonight, listening to this, and wow, this lady have done so much. But you have two girls. How were you able to juggle, to streamline your operations, your functionality, having two girls to raise and still be able to move about and to get yourself into position, do things like you have done? How was that possible?
You know, John, family first. And again, I learned that from my mother. My mother actually did not work outside of the home. She ran a business. And one of the reasons why she did that was that she'd be there for her family. We went home every day for lunch. She sat with us and we had lunch. We said goodnight to each other when we went to bed. So family is very important. So every job that I took, I also said the same thing. My family is very important to me.
Right.
And these are the times and the months that I would like to be off. One of my negotiations with American Express was that I was going to have March break off. I was going to have the month of August off. I was going to have December off,
Mm.
you know, and I will still continue to produce what you want.
Right.
And, you know, when I got the award from American Express, a very prestigious award that says you're a trendsetter, means you set trends that American Express on a whole, American Express Canada followed.
Right.
And when you became a pacemaker, well, then, as people said, you're walking on water then. And that was one of my, you know, my jobs were all good, but this was one job that allowed me the flexibility to be there. Now,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that everybody will get that opportunity,
Right.
but at times you have to be that mother and you have to wake up in the night and you do what you have to do. And I think it's much more difficult now for young people having kids because
Right.
sometimes they don't have the parents, the grandparents,
Around
you
them.
know, or they can't afford to have a babysitter. And I was fortunate that the lady that I hired to take care of my kids when I couldn't be there We kept her until my youngest daughter was like about 15 years old. And
Wow.
people said, "What do you need a babysitter for?" And I said, when my mom passed, she's not my babysitter. She's
Mm,
now the grandmother,
right.
you know. But family time is very important. Whatever time you can get, whether it's to have that dinner together, you need to do it because it builds that structure into children that they want to connect with their parents and ask them how they're doing, how is the day. I pick up my granddaughter from school now, and as soon as she gets in the car, she calls me mom. She goes, "Mom, how was your day?" And I say, "How was school?" So we stimulate the conversation, but it's tough. It's not easy, especially in Canada.
I know. I see you doing so many things. And
Mhm.
it sometimes it seems to me that you don't get a break. Because every time I see you, you're working. Everywhere you're working. And you're working, getting the gala, working with GIPC, working with GT, with GAD, and the 50 plus, and you're doing all this stuff together. And then you still give Gem FM some advice. So here and there. I am very much interested in how you have evolved over the years, and in your capacity as the Consul General, the Honorary Consul General of Grenada here. What would you say was your greatest challenges as a Honorary Consul?
And that might sound like if I say I don't use the word challenges. It's
Hmm.
something I try not to use.
Okay.
I would say temporary setbacks and things, or things don't work
Hmm.
accordingly or swiftly as you would like them to work.
Right.
Um, but you work around them. And I mean, there's one thing that stands out, and I think it was the most challenging and probably the most gripping thing that I had to deal with was during COVID when I got a call from a funeral home that this lady had passed and she was from Grenada. And they were trying to ship the body to Grenada, but Grenada had refused the body because the death certificate said she passed from COVID and they
Hmm.
weren't allowing the body to come home. And the funeral home here tried, and the funeral home in Grenada was working with the government. And it was almost like into a month this body was sitting on ice. And I said, well, if Grenada is refusing it, I don't know how much more I can do.
Right.
But then I got a thought and I said, can I get a copy of the death certificate? And when I read it, there were a lot of different things happening. She
Hmm.
had a stroke, she was diabetic. And I said, did she die from COVID or did she die from complications related to COVID?
Hmm.
I think you need to go back and find that out. Get the chief medical officer to look at the death certificate again and get him to answer that question. And they came back and they said she died from complications related to COVID. So I said that she didn't die from COVID. So I wrote the chief medical officer in Grenada and I said, get me a revised death certificate, sent it off, and she got cleared for the body to be shipped. And that stuck with me when the family called and cried and said it was our mother's wish to be
Hmm.
buried in Grenada, and their body was now in Canada on ice for over a month, and
Wow.
she was finally able to go home.
Hmm.
To me, that was a blessing.
Wow.
So, although you have them as challenges, there's that light at the end of the tunnel that you work towards.
Man, to that. Well, we great have grown over the years, and among most of us, we are proud Grenadians. I think all Grenadians are proud of Grenada at any given time. We are celebrating 50 years of independence.
Mhm.
As a Grenadian living here, and you look back on your journey to now, what are your thoughts on the development and the structure, the changes that bring us to this spot of 50? what would you say, are the things that you really like about Grenada, growing up in Grenada, being here, enjoying and living now at the age of 50, Grenada, age of 50. She just, I think one song say, she only 50. What would you see as the greatest achievement or highlights? That only talking about the highlights of the last 50 years for you. What are the things that stand out for you as a Grenadian?
There's a lot. I mean, like, I was very young when Grenada got independence, so I didn't understand what it meant because we weren't taught that in school. We just knew it was a party time. And I remember going to the Governor General's house with my mother to celebrate.
Right.
But working in the Ministry of Tourism then in Grenada and being the Director of Tourism here in Canada, which the office is also at the consulate, looking back, what I can see is the development that has changed, the medical school, the airport that we have, the Morris Bishop Airport, and the investment that we have brought into Grenada to spur our economy has shaped us for the direction we need to go. But as we also look at the new unveiling of what Grenada will look like in the next 25 years, so the younger generation have a bird's eye view of what to expect. Right. Whereas me, I didn't know what to expect a Grenada would be like. Presently speaking today, I am very pleased to see the direction in which we are going and the accelerated speed that we are going at.
Right. So we have people who will recall, I mean, we wasn't around, really. You and I probably was young, very young, Expo 69.
I remember that very well.
Yeah, Easter Water Parade,
Yeah.
Our first World International Miss World. I mean, our Prime Minister then, Eric Matthew Gary, was a judge at that, so you have a lot of stuff we could talk about going on here, but I myself had run-ins with Eric Matthew Gary. I've been to his house on several occasions when school was on vacation with my father going to drop off provision and stuff like that at his home and so on. Have you ever met Uncle Gary?
I have, let's just say my mother was very much political and was considered one of his advisors.
Right.
So I grew up very much being around the cabinet on a whole. I remember them coming to the house every Friday to, put strategies together, whether it was election, whether it was land for the landless, whether it was turkey for the seniors, whether, Expo 69. Some of those things I was able to grasp and listen to when they would have these conversations. So now looking at the Carnage today, as we celebrated our 50th, brought back the very memories of Easter Water Parade. And I thought it was a fitting place to have the celebration. You talk of Expo 69, I was very young, but I do recall that Expo 69 also put us on the map because telecommunication was then tested first in Grenada, and we have one of the best communication systems in the Caribbean region. I don't know if you recall going into a booth where you were able to have a conversation and see the person on the TV, which is what we're doing now that we call Zoom.
Yes.
That was at Expo 69.
Right. It come full circle. Yes.
It come full circle, right? So we have evolved, and there's a lot more I'm sure you will see, and this government is undertaking to make sure that they also leave their footprints for a better Grenada and a more developed Grenada for the younger people.
Yes. A lot of people are talking about the celebration, the highlights of the celebration. People watch it on Zoom here. The drone display, I watched it and I was really, really, I was blown away because this is not the first time I saw it, but I haven't now given the opportunity, and we look at it now and Zoom, we see it on YouTube and everything. And looking back now, you know, how marvelous this was. What what do you think the mindset now of Grenadians who, you know, look at this art form, this is a form of art, a creativity in the arts, and Grenada has spent our money now in the arts, right? What would you say was your greatest takeaway from that aerial display by the drones on that 50th anniversary? Were you shocked? Were you amazed? Were you thrilled? What was, I mean,
I actually smiled when I saw it because it brought me back to when Sir Gary spoke of UFOs.
yeah. He tried to be right, though.
Yes. And I thought,
Right.
you know, that would be a time we would look in the sky and say, oh, there are actually UFOs there.
Yeah.
I thought it was a brilliant display. I mean, the art that was transformed into this lighting, the different faces that were there. I thought it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
What's your favorite? Which one of them was your favorite? Apart from Gary, there's a lot of displays. I can tell you my two. My two was the boat sailing on the water and Kieran running. That two took my breath away. When I saw the boat, I said, oh my God, they even got the boat to sail. You know,
I like the nutmeg. The nutmeg.
Yeah, sorry, nutmeg too, yeah.
Yes,
but,
the nutmeg.
Yeah, there are a lot of good parts, but you know, the moving parts, really moving parts with Kirani and the boat moving, to me, that was awesome. The other thing,
John, that also goes to show us that we as leaders, or those of us who have been around for a while, need to encourage the youths.
Right. Yes.
Right. And we are seeing a lot of youths now being so creative, starting their own businesses, you know, making drinks, soaps, whatever it is they're making. And now we have this beautiful display of art.
I think the Prime Minister made a statement earlier in the election, after election, about having you could equip your young people. That's paraphrasing his statement here, to compete with the world, not just Grenada.
Exactly.
I think that display give Grenada an edge to venture into the 21st century, with that display. Now people look to Grenada, other Caribbean countries who see that for the very first time, look to Grenada.
We are leaders, right? We're
exactly.
leaders. We're leaders. Yeah.
We are definitely leaders. We have always created the environment for change. Yes. I had this conversation, and I continue to say this, that Grenada have promoted the most housing project in the Caribbean, right? Have spent more money on education. Yes. Even under Edgar. And I want to say this here because sometimes people may say, what are you talking about? I cannot recall, if I stand corrected, if there is any government including PRG, have built any school in the 4.5 years and the last 30 years, built any new schools. All the schools that are in Grenada were built, most of them were built under the leadership of Sir Eric Matugari. The last 4 schools, junior secondary school, fully equipped, more modernized than any other school in Grenada, was Waltham, Grenville Junior Secondary School, Booker, Happy Hill, yes, and Ingalls Current. These schools was the most equipped, modernized school. Library at the time, if it was today, you're having computers. They had typewriters, which I did typing for 4 years in my school. So I'm good at typing. I learned that to 4 years of that. So there's no easy feat. I learned shorthand. I do 3 years of shorthand in that school. And woodworking and drafting at it's called Grenville Secondary School. I learned to do drafting and woodworking there. Even some home economics, all that, science, And again, I was a prolific reader. I would go to the library because I had a very good library there. Not only that, but under Gary, many housing schemes was built by him under his leadership,
And
right?
Land for the Landless. So
And
that
land
was
for
a
the
great
landless.
program.
Yes.
Land for the Landless.
ODPRG came with what we call idle hands, but idle hands equal production. Gary was doing land for the landless long before that.
Yeah.
Right. So Gary have owned his place in our culture, in our community, in our country. And he have done well, yes, for Grenada. He have placed Grenada on the map. And we can say what we want about big dictatorship, and there's every country, everyone has their dictators, right? But if you go back and look at what they have done some positive work. And most time people do that to put whatever they call dictators, they do that to protect what they're trying to build. In a lot of cases, their reputation. But I want to say tonight that at 50, we have risen to a different level at this time. And the political independence must now lead us to a sort of a economic independence where we could cut back on our input and export more. And you make mention about the consulate. One of the tasks that is tasked with is trying to get more goods and services from Grenada to Canada. Given the present construct and the vision of the new government, and you, who you are, where you are at this time, do you think that we can move from just merely importing more from Canada and importing much more Ghanaian products into Canada with a cooperative effort with the consulate and Ghanaians in the diaspora? Do you think we in the next 5 years or so, we can achieve more than what we're doing right now?
I think we can. I think we need to re-educate our people and to encourage our young ones. I think it was the first week of August, just before Grenada Day, I hosted an investment program in collaboration with Grenada Day on young people investing in Grenada.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or persons investing in Grenada. And I think too often when we leave home, we do not think about returning.
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to invest here. There are a lot of products in Grenada right now that just needs to get in Canada on the market. You know, I remember reading a post a couple months ago where this person referred to getting a drink at one of the supermarkets called Nation. And she says, oh, finally, there's a drink that says Grenada on it. But it wasn't from Grenada. So
I the same drink. A friend of mine said to me, there is a drink and from Grenada, but when I got the bottle, it was Granada.
Yes.
Grenada. So it wasn't a drink.
But it's put in in the aisle. It's in the West Indian aisle. So it's misleading.
Misleading.
So I think we need more exposure. I think we need to find out exactly who are the persons or how we can get the products on the shelves here. Our spices. You know, there's a company on I think it's Sinclair, and they import a lot of coffees. And I walked in one day and I said, do you have Grenada coffee here or cocoa or anything? And he goes, no.
Wow.
So I brought him a cocoa ball and he went, oh my God, this is really good. So they're looking at importing cocoa from Grenada.
Right.
Because they sell it to the market here. So generally, I think is the lack of knowledge for us.
Right.
And not having the guidance and where we can go to. So once the consulate, I think the website right now is under construction, but they would have links to various departments in the government that one could look into for getting their products out here in Canada. Right? And the new Consul General, Mr. Jerry Hopkins, in his meet and greet, gave us an insight as to how we can do so. So I think we just have to encourage and support. And you know, I'm a very big supporter of any Grenadian establishment here, like the Earl's Kitchen and Thread from Nutmeg Creole, wherever possible. I plug them. And, you know, I think that's what we need to do to support one another, because we tend not to support each other when they have a business. But we need to change that mentality.
Right. You have worked tirelessly in ensuring that Grenadians are well grounded, and rounded in our communities. You make that effort to meet people and help them and so on. There would be a showcase Grenada on the 18th of February. Could you tell us a little bit about it? I know you are part of the planning committee on that. Could you tell us a little about the showcase and what Grenadians should expect in Canada? What they should expect about that?
It's called Showcase Grenada. So it's everything Grenadian. So we have the market, and usually in the marketplace, I would use the word import here now. We import most of our produce and fruits from Grenada. So you can actually have an authentic mango or green banana or piece of yam or damsels or something. And I mean, that has become challenging because of the flight situation. But we still try to get as much produce that we can, like the spices and the cocoa in the marketplace. Then we have the restaurant, and the restaurant cooks everything Grenadian, from your oil down to your pilau, to your fish cakes and stuff like that. And then we have vendors. So those are the vendors where we showcase not only, I wouldn't say just Grenada, because we always say Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and Friends of Grenada.
Friends of Grenada, yeah.
Yeah. So we have vendors who will showcase whether it's art and crafts or whether it's t-shirt or memorabilia of Grenada. Sometimes we have authors. We have our first High Commissioner, who was George Griffith. He wrote a book on Gary that is displayed usually at Showcase. It's a very good book to have, and he'll be there. And then we have our entertainers like Kinsey, who performs. We've had various artists out of Grenada doing, promoting Spice Mass. So it's a family day, it's a family long weekend. And usually we have attendees up to about 600 that come in and out. People come in for the food, people come in to shop, and, just network with one another and have a good time.
Yes, Showcase Grenada. I want to talk to you about one more thing here, and that have to do with you organizing and helping to plan events and stuff like that. There's a lot of event going on that went on already, and there's more to come. And you hear people saying, well, always the same old people doing the same thing. They don't change in the end. Why they need some more young blood in the system? What would you say to the young people who are out there and want to be part of the Grenada Planning Committee, the Independence Committee, the Grenada Association? What would you say to these young people?
I would encourage them.
Some of them are Grenadian, children of Grenadian in Grenada, in Canada. They are second generation Grenadian, so to speak, right? What would you say to them?
And I think it starts with us as being parents. I used to take my kids to the gala when they were very young, up until they got to like 18. And then I said, Mom, there's nobody here for us to dance with. And I'll be spending the night, with their father dancing with them. So we need to encourage them more. And right. I mean, John, I invite you to be part of the GIPC.
Yes.
And we had a lot of youths that, we had reached out to. I think sometimes we get stuck, and it becomes ours, because sometimes we feel the young people, we feel threatened that they're going to take it away from us and push us to the side. But I always think the best reward you can have is when you see young people take it one step further, and you could say, I was part of that journey that helped them to get there, or they learn from what we've done. But if we continue to stay, we will become stagnant.
Yes.
We will just be able, the 55 plus I remember when I was asked to be part of 55 plus, I actually said, are they crazy? I'm not even 45 and they want me to be 55 plus. And the first function that I went to, I looked at how hard they were working, and I thought, how could I help? And the following year, I donated the chair covers. And the third year, I said, I'm going to help you guys. We're going to make this bigger. And we took it from the Tropicana Community Center to the Holiday Inn. First year we had 100, next year we had 150, and the last 2019 we had about 210 in attendance. This
Wow.
year in December we did the Christmas luncheon for seniors.
Yes. Mhm.
And I couldn't believe that we had to actually stop selling tickets because the capacity, we had already reached the capacity on the venue that we chose. So it's good to see that we're giving back. But if you look at the makeup of the persons who are in the 55 plus, they
Mm.
work very hard. They're tired,
Yes.
and I think all of the organizations need to start a campaign to
Mm.
bring young people in so the organizations don't die when we die.
Right, right. And
I'm an advocate for that.
you should. A lot of times, again, you say that people are threatened by young people. They feel they don't know what they're doing. I've been there for 30 years. I know what to do. You might know, but you're not going into the future. You're not bringing no futuristic ideas in. You're just going
Right.
through the same motion, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And the young people,
Right.
and they want to be part of the movement. They want to be part of the change, the transition. They want to take it to the
Right.
next level. And there's some people feel hindered by the older folks within the organization. I've heard it. So, and thank you again for the invitation, because I always say, yes, I'm a member now, and but I'm having observer status, um,
I think we should get more involved because I know people sit
yeah.
on the outside and they're looking, and I must commend the GIPC team and the GAT team. They're very hard working. I mean, every function that we have, you see them, rolling their sleeves up and they're helping one way or the other. But at the same time, I also think it's important that the young people come in. They understand, they learn about the country, their parents. At the flag raising ceremony, a gentleman, we were talking, and his father is Grenadian. They were born here. And he says, my dad doesn't speak of Grenada. And I said, maybe he don't think you guys are interested in Grenada. He said, I've only been once. I said, well, we have to change that.
Mm-hmm.
So as parents, we need to tell our children about Grenada. Buy them the books from King's Douglas, give them an insight into the underwater sculptures, the museum there. Tell them, where you're from. My kids were going to Grenada for many, many years, and they believe now they're more Grenadian than I am. They tell me I can't dance. I don't dance like a Grenadian. I dance like a Canadian.
Oh,
So, we just need to embrace our culture a bit more too.
Mm-hmm.
We need to showcase it. You look at all the other countries that showcase their culture.
Yeah.
We really need to do some more work on that.
Let me ask you, over the past the many years that you've been here and the amount of things that have been done under your leadership, what would you say was your greatest achievement? Because this show is about success, living a dream. And so that's that kind of twofold question here. You mentioned the different things you've been into and what to get done. You have succeeded in many different areas of your functioning. But what would you say to you was your greatest achievement as one of those leaders that led the field, so to speak, and becoming who you are? What was your greatest, and I think it's Earl Nightingale who said that success is the progressive realization of what the ideal or a dream. What would you say was your greatest success?
I think everything that I have done, fortunately, have been successful for me, or let's say leaping pads for me. Working under Consulate and being able to give back again to my country was very satisfying. That as I said, I've done it at home and was able to do it at a different capacity at this time. And that has led me to want to do more. So it doesn't mean because I'm no longer Consul General, it means I change everything that I have done in the past or I wouldn't continue to do. So I would say that was a success because, as the elderly lady said to me, when you are prepared, the opportunity comes.
Yes.
And I think I was prepared. And for those who encouraged me and those who supported me, like yourself, that also made me successful. And thank you, John, for
Yeah.
being my knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
And
I
I
was
must say, John, we met
mm,
on a trip that we took. I took a couple friends to support a restaurant in Hamilton,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we went out on the Sunday. We had ice cream. We had
No, actually,
oil down with Kenny C.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and that's when we started talking.
Okay, and then I think there was another something happened somewhere where I was, and then I said, no, you can't be talking like that. You can't be making those statements. This, there's protocol for everything, and she should be involved. She must be part of that planning because that's the prime minister representative in this country. And before I know it, somebody called me and said, "What are you doing?" You're doing this and this and this, and you're talking like this. I said, I'm not afraid to. I understand protocol. I understand what should be done, who should be at the head of certain things. And that person could arrange for different things to happen. Because that is this office is the prime minister's external foreign affairs office. By extension, it belongs and she's in that. So that has to be respected. Whatever your political leaning is, you have to
And
respect that.
and it's important that people understand that the office should
Mm,
always be respected.
have to be respected.
The office, I'm not saying to disrespect the person in the
You
office,
can't
but the
disrespect person in the
office,
either.
right? But I was going to say this, right?
Yeah,
In having respect for the office, you have to have respect for who's in the position. You do not have to like the person,
respect.
but you have to respect the person
Definitely.
and help work because that's who's representing you
Mhm.
here in Canada.
Because believe it or not, whatever happens to any grader, whether they like it or not, and
They
you
come to the office.
just come to the office, you have to
They
meet
come to
you.
the office.
You know,
Yeah.
funny, I just drop a little story here. I know it is because I remember many years ago, I was handing out some flyer for a church community barbecue and stuff like that. And a guy was driving a car by close to the library in Eglinton, and he almost ran me over. And what he didn't say to me, right? He cussed me off and he kind of, with the car and he kind of that. And about 3 weeks later, he came down the street handing out flyers. And he came into the church we had a community program going on there. And I was there with the young people teaching, helping, the homework and stuff like that. And he walked in there and he saw me and he was like, you could see the shock on his face. He was like, wow. He going to turn back and say, no, come, can I help you? And I accommodated him and I talked to him about it. I told him what he was doing and stuff like that. I took the flyers and we had a space for it. I nicely and displayed to the front. And I said, anything you want to drop anything, drop it here. It'll be fine. He walked out and walked back, but he didn't come back. I think he was so embarrassed. And sometimes when we become embarrassed, we're afraid to say sorry. And a lot of times people make this mistake. But they have to learn to respect people, no matter who they are, whatever your leanings, your belief is. People are people. I must respect people all the time. It's not a part-time thing.
As we say, it's one journey, one people, right?
Yes.
We gotta work together.
Work together.
We want the same things. We may not always approach the same way, but
right.
In the end, we want the same outcome.
Yeah, we want the same. Yeah, exactly. And we do it as Grenada and for Grenada, right? Okay. And so we are here in the diaspora, and I know there is a gala tomorrow. Could you tell us? I mean, I know that there is no more tickets as far as I know. I don't want to say anything what's going to happen tomorrow, but how is plans coming along for the gala tomorrow?
I can't tell you anything about the gala. You'd have to have a ticket and come to the gala.
Yes, I come to the gala.
But I can tell you that the association is putting on something very spectacular for you. And, unfortunately, from what I've been told and, myself looking for tickets for people and, tickets I've sold, it is a sold out event.
Yeah.
And we, next year don't wait around too long. It's always a sold
Okay.
out event.
Folks. Yeah. And so the
And
other
it's
event,
only one of the events that we have
mm,
um, where everybody comes out.
yeah.
We've never had a probably just after COVID, the first one.
Mm,
But the numbers are always in the 600 plus,
right. Right.
so it's always good to see everybody when they come out.
When
I know you'll be getting all dressed up tomorrow, John.
I be looking like that the same way. I'll be coming straight from here into tomorrow like
I
this.
know you. I know you're wearing that sequence jacket,
Which one is that again?
red one.
Red one. But it will be a wonderful. I look into to it. That it'll be a wonderful evening for creators to come out and have fun, enjoy the evening with the friends and the family, and engage one another. Don't be shy. Meet and greet somebody. I met a lot of people last year. Actually, I went there and I met Miss Lucy Boney, who I met at a Greater Cultural group meeting, and we kick it off good friends from there on. And at the Galaxy and I was like really good friends. We sat down in the foyer. I was just anytime something passed, he said, "John, you don't want a piece of that? I want." We were just having a
John,
really fun.
I want to take this opportunity to commend you on what you're doing and connecting Grenadians. And, I know you have viewers from all over the world. And, we should continue to support you because we have a voice and we have a channel in which we can advertise through you. So my outreach to Grenadians and friends of Grenadians is to support you. It's, that we can be recognized as having our own. And maybe you'll be like the 98.7 one day,
Yes,
and have your TV station. And I know that's your dream,
well, definitely.
and I pray that it does work out for you. You have given me some advice and doing that.
Well, thank you so much for that, because one of the things I say to people, support us, because we're not doing that for us, we're doing it for all of us. And Gem FM Genesis Magazine is about our community, reaching out and helping and to promote what we do here as a people, because there's nobody going to do it for us if we don't do it for ourselves. And
That's
I'm
right.
happy to have the opportunity to have this medium that I could promote. We at Gem FM can promote the events that we have coming up and interview our people who are doing good things in this country, Ola Kitchen and many others. I mean, and other writers. We have different people from across the board, even from Grenada, interviewed on this radio station. We had Tillman Thomas, we had Adrian Thomas, we had Mr. Patrick Antoine, among others, and we have been able to reach Africa through this medium. I was invited to speak at a African forum on a solidarity grouping in Africa for the Black History African Day, Liberation Day. And that only because of when they look at Gem FM, what they're doing here, they wanted me to speak to that. On Grenada and how Grenada has changed 40 years ago to today, what was my experiences over the last 40 years, and being in part of the revolution, what was my experiences and what would I say to young people now and stuff. So that was a really good thing for me. And us doing what we're doing here and keep publishing and keep printing and, just doing what we do, just being part of the thing. And I just want to say to us, all of us, that we do need your support, especially financially, so we ask persons to donate, and it's on the screen, to make a donation, to go to the website at gemfm.ca and, just click on the donate button, and we could be a monthly, yearly, weekly supporter. Anything, 5, 10, 20, my goal really is to see 1 million people giving $1 every month, if that is possible, people could give $1 every month to 1 million people, $1 every month. Could do lots of things that we plan to do. But again, I can't see everything we want to do, but there's a lot of things we want to do in our community right here in Canada and in Grenada as well, because there's a lot of need that need to be filled, and we can't always depend on government to do it. But if we put together, join heads, hearts, and hearts together, we can get it done. Collectively, as a people, we can do more together than individually. And like a car that have many strands is stronger than just a single one, So again, I really do appreciate your help, your support, and allowing me to speak to you. And I know when you called me, and we had a long conversation, about 4 hours we sat down for. Almost half a day. We had a whole conversation, and this to me was really remarkable, because somebody who just met you, and we just met at Kenny C's restaurant there, and thereafter the conversation about the right night that Shinama came up, and still didn't realize that even though you said it and they said who you were, it didn't sink in yet, But at that session, I had to stand up for who that person was. I realized it was you.
It pays to be humble. I was raised to be very humble.
And you are.
And I think I thank my mother for that. It's about serving, it's about connecting, and it's about giving.
Right.
Too often we forget the giving part. I think when people volunteer, you have to think they're giving so much of themselves, because they have a full-time job, they have families to take care of, and when we go to those meetings, we spend a great length of time at these meetings. So we have to learn to appreciate the people who are planning the independence event for us to enjoy, and respect them too.
Yes, because a lot of work, people don't realize this. A lot of work going to planning the independence celebrations. All the events that is being held. People, like I said to Unison, the president of the Grenada Association, I said everything seems to be impossible until it's finished or it's done. I love his spirit, and his humbleness, and even yours. I remember you and I sat at the table in the restaurant. And while we were there, people came in and we were saying, "Hi, John, hi, John, hi, John." I said, like, you know who I'm sitting with? And the guy said, "Who is this?" I said, "This is the Honorary Consul General of Grenada in Toronto." Really? She said, like just something like that. That was Roland. And other people came in, and my cousin came in, and he said, "Really, I didn't know." So people, you're very low key, and you're very but effective. You're very effective in executing what you are tasked with to do, and encourage other people to do the same. So that is the kind of leadership that is really, really needed in our community. I think you have demonstrated your strength and tenacity as a leader. As you continue to journey through this life, I wish you greater success than you have right now. I would like younger people to see you as that torch bearer, that lit up the path so they could come and walk into the light, and to help transform, and to help to be more engaging in with the future, approaching the future with confidence, because the older people have given them that push and say, hey, you know what, you can do it. It's possible. It's not impossible. You are possible. It is possible. You could do it. And I like that, because you are one of the many persons that I have seen and I've worked with over the last year or so, how much you have put in, and your dedication and commitment to the cause, not looking for fame and looking for anything in return, but you're looking to make sure that Grenada is what Grenada should be at home and abroad. And I think you stand out really good in that. And I see your efforts, and I know your humbleness, even when you're criticized, you take it with a smile. I see this smile. You get hammered, sometimes I say, I sit back and I listen and I think, well, why are they hammering this lady? But it's all
when you become a public figure.
Yes,
you have to expect these things, and you have to know how to listen to
Yeah.
what they're also saying, you
Yeah.
know, and sometimes people react because they don't think they're heard.
Yeah.
So you have to give them that listening ear. And, you know, sometimes I do call and I would say, you know, well, it maybe wasn't the right place at the time,
Mm.
but we have to work through things.
Yeah.
You know, it's in any capacity that you are. And I don't take
You
those things
but you are
personally at
truly
all.
you're truly a model, an example of what real leadership is. I don't think a lot of people have that quality, to you don't react to
No.
things. I've seen you last year that you don't react. You just humbly say, okay, and you go on. No, I observed that, for
I'm a diffuser. I'm not
yeah. You
an
don't gaslight
infuser.
nothing. You don't gaslight nothing.
No,
You
no,
simply
no, no.
do what have to be done, and if you could be criticized, you humble yourself and you move on. And I
I
love that.
will take the
Yes,
cross upon my own and I will
yes, and
carry it
carry
if
it.
I
Yeah,
have to.
yes, and
Yes.
you was able to do that well. I really do appreciate that, because when I look at people, and I even that when I the job I used to do, I see a lot of leaders, and they call themselves leaders, but when you see how they function, you know that there's a lot of work to be done on them. And I was able to correct had conversation with a couple of supervisors, and then they find out, who am I? Who is this guy? And I said, we'll have a conversation after this conversation later on, but often, this is what needs to be done, and you get it done, and you will see what happens. And they come back to me and say, it works. I say, I know it's going to work. I invented that one.
No,
But,
when you're called to serve, you
yes,
serve.
yourself. Yeah,
You
yourself.
serve at all costs. You serve it. You know, we are given a timeline in which to serve, and
Mm-hmm.
you graciously accept
Do it.
when that time comes
Mm-hmm.
that you have done your best with
Yes.
whatever time you've had.
You better
And
be.
and that's what I say is why I say it's to me it was one of my successes because I was able to reach and connect with people and to help where I could in the short 2 year span that
Right.
I had to do it. And again, appreciative to the government for allowing me to serve my time out.
Yeah. But you did well. You did very well. And we
Thank
at
you.
MFM, we really appreciate your work that you have done, representing Grenada and doing what you do the best you can. You held your end, you do what you had to do, you held your head high, and you just keep on moving and changing
And
stuff.
I will continue without the title. The
Yeah,
title is just a rubber stamp when you get into office, but it doesn't say who you are as a person.
yeah. But a lot of you have showed up, and people who look at you as and look up to you, like including myself, and I know there are a lot of other people that look to you as that helpmate in the organization, and probably thought to themselves, you know what, I wish I could have been like Don. I wish I could do like that Don. I don't have this tenacity, so let her do it for me. Let her be that part of the arm, this part of the body the shoulder, this wrist, and let her be the ears for me. Let her be the shoulder for me, And I think that those people who are serious about leading will look to you to help them, because great leaders really do look out for helpers. Because no, every leader, real leadership, realize I can't do it all by myself. And
But I
when
think we need to be mentors for the younger ones because
yes,
people would look and say, well, how do I get this job?
mm,
And I'm just saying, if you start off by just donating some time to your community, I mean, like people call me the road runner because every time they call me, I'm in my car,
on
I'm
the road,
driving somewhere. You're always on the road, you're doing something,
doing something, right, right.
Everybody was like, why aren't you coming to Grenada? Why don't you take a break? And I said, I took the job for 2 years and I never had vacation. And
Wow.
that was my choice. I worked, right? But I think the young people need to know where they can go to get advice and, different positions. And there's a lot of us in the
Mm,
community that hold very good jobs.
right.
There are a lot of us who you don't have to hold a big position, but can
Mm,
give a word of advice, or we can just listen. You know, um, 2 years ago, even the Grenada Independence Planning Committee, in collaboration with the consulate, we had these sessions on mental health, prostate cancer. Those are the things, and we saw what the turnout was. So we need to continue to engage the community.
Yeah.
And, there are people here, and I would say this out. Now we should look, when I was in office, we actually collaborated with Women's Hospital, and we sent out and say, you can come in and have a free mammogram, regardless to whether you're documented or not. You didn't need any ID. You didn't need a OHIP. We need how to reach out to people to understand that you can trust and be safe when you go to the consulate. You can speak to them about anything, any issues that you have, and they'll, objectively listen and try to help you the best way that they can.
We run out of time here, but I want to ask you this question. I just make a statement here, and it has to do with nationals here who are not registered, who not landed, and they might be, they're not registered with the council either. What would you say to those nationals that are not landed and they're still fearful of coming to register? What hope would you give or say to those people who are still fearful?
I don't think they should be fearful of coming to the office. I mean, we're there to help you and to give you the best, of course, of advice. Whatever advice you need based on your situation. So I think they should reach out. They can call the office if they don't want to go in. But it is very, very important that they know, regardless of whether they're documented or not, they're entitled to hold a Grenadian passport.
Right.
And your Grenadian passport can be used as ID for you to do whatever you need to do here in Canada.
Right.
You should have no fear in going into the office and getting your passport expedited. You should have no fear. And I encourage everybody, if they don't have any ID, to get the passport, even if they're not traveling, but also to seek some sort of counseling as to how, you hear people who say, I've been here for 40 years, but they have done nothing to really see how they can stay here. And there are all these options for them to look into.
Right. Well, Ms. Dawn Francois, it has been a plumb pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege to have you here at Gem FM with us tonight. We wish you greater success in all that you put your hands to, that the people around you will lift you up and hold your hands up to ensure that you get the task done, and they work together with you to ensure that it happens. So again, from all of us here at Gem FM, we say thank you and continue in your service to humanity.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for awarding me the highest award, the Lydia Achilles Award. That was very much appreciated.
Yes. I had to ask you that. I know that we did that and stuff that we do for...
based on the premise of your dream, Lydia's dream, and to get that award, and I said to you, I will do anything that I can do to help.
Yes.
And you have my word on that.
Thank you.
I was very humbled in receiving that award.
Because when we nominated you, I read your CV. Wow.
Bye.
This lady have done more than her lifetime here.
I have.
And so we had no choice but to award you that, because, when you look back at people's work, and sometimes, people don't get the credit they deserve for the work that they have put into making things better for people, And we just brush them over because, that's Don, that's John, but people have done so much things in their lifetime. They have made so many contributions, and suddenly they don't blow a trumpet from on top of the corner and say, oh, I've done that. They don't do that. And if I didn't ask for this, I would have never known. The road that you have walked and paved, so other people can walk smoothly behind it, after you have passed. There's a saying my mom is always have, she had in her house. See, I might only pass this way but at once, just once. But any good I can do, let me not differ from doing it, because I will not pass this way again. When you come here, what you see here, when you leave here, let it stay here.
Let's stay here. Yes, that is so true.
But
We have to use our opportunities and the
yes,
doors that are open to us to help others.
yes, and you have done that. So again,
Thank you.
all power to you, my sister. All power.
Thank you so much for having
Happy
me.
Independence, 50th anniversary of independence. Sid, I hope you come and get some along tomorrow before we go to the dinner.
I need to fit into the dress, John. Save me a dance.
Probably for Sunday morning.
Okay, yes, definitely.
And
Thank you so much again.
there's brunch on Sunday. So
I will be there.
I'll see you there too. All right. So again, God
Thank
bless
so
you
much.
and make you a blessing. We're moving up.
You and your
Yes.
family.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. God bless you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been speaking to none other than Don Francois, a former honorary consul general of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique in Toronto. And, you know, I enjoyed the moment here with her and engaging with her over the last year that we have connected. We were connected to each other to doing working together on an invitation to join the GIPC, with the committee responsible for planning the gala tomorrow, which a number of hands on deck in that. Mr. Jerry Ross, Sandra, and the current Consul General, Mr. Jerry Hopkins, Eunice and Joseph, a number of people, have put hearts and hands together to get this thing done. Among all the activities, including the trip to Niagara Falls, the gala coming up, the showcase on the 18th, the literary night, a number of other things, the Brampton lighting of the clock, and the Niagara Falls colors on the falls, which they'll come through a lot of criticism, but at the end of the day, it was the planning up to that point was well done and executed, and that's when you work together to get something done. But again, I want to say thank you to all my viewers and listeners around the world, those of you in Grenada and in Canada, and in particular those on Vaughan Road. Yes, in my community here, 610 Vaughan Road. I love it. I love living here. And to all of you who are patrons at Ola's Kitchen, we invite you to come along and support her, Gradient Authentic Cooking, yeah, at 477 Oakwood Avenue. There's many others I will get to in time. I'm just trying to help one at a time to promote. But there's lots I have to go to and see how much we can help them to promote their own establishment as well. So if you're in Canada, you have a business and you're Canadian, reach out to us at 437-980-7467 and see how we can work something out to have your business promoted here on TMFM, how we can make you more famous than you are in this country and in this community. So again, God bless you and make you a blessing. One love, one heart, one destiny. I'll take a song right here and let it go.
In this their country, in this their country. Also very ordinary as canvas, please check. See the same contributing from some of your brains, from some of your your Case of the shots fired on for the jurisdiction of issues that come to know from see left of you and see our nation from this my country from this my country you see that
Yes, let us sing happy birthday, Grenada Kaiko and Petty Martinic. Just a little bit of note here. Ola's Kitchen presents karaoke every Saturday night from 10 o'clock, from 9 o'clock, yes? And don't forget Showcase, February 18th, coming up, and be part of that. Tomorrow night is the gala. And if you're looking for some Bob, they call 514-718-5615, and they could check them out to get some Bob on the Gary's Barber Shop on Eglinton and Oakwood and Vaughan, 479 Oakwood Avenue, just adjacent to Ola's Kitchen. So get a haircut, get some food, get your food, get a haircut. All right. At barbershop, lots of Grenadians in that barbershop to go get a haircut from a Grenadian. Again, some of the Grenadian business in Gary's barbershop. All right. Take a few songs and I'll be right back with you right here on Gem FM.
Found the office I don't need to be the consul general. And I think it was 2014, 15, the PS said, Francois, I'm getting a lot of people recommending you for the position. Why won't you consider it? And I go, no, not now, not now. So, and then it came another time I was asked the same question. And in 2020, I remember I was out with some friends and this lady said to me, she said, what does opportunity mean to you?
Salvation and his thank you for the love and protection. We appreciate your practice to hold on. Be silent. Where I was be silent. Thank you for the decisions I know. Beating my victory. Yes, we love you. Carrico, beating my victory. To hit the island. Culture loving people. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Traditional dancing around the maple, dancing with the cake and regatta to the ball. Banjo and retro, rock banging in the street, jack pie and black wine, and one. I started don't be blood born. Caracas and Maroons are rich tradition. Where our culture is safe and strong. Yes, we love you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. Free. You. Take time and up down. All the things that I love. Let's go be like 5 miles long. Let's believe it's love that makes me sing this song. The cleanest brings on the waters. Finding people meeting every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for. Yeah, stand for. Yes, that's how we grow how far we run. Fears we strong and more to come. More to come. To come. It's only love. These were things with still we just sing a song. So to reminisce on the reasons I want straight from the beginning. From the people who came to sugar and change, emancipation to revolution. Oh, let's make up on the road. More than the ice cream and gold. Much more than the road. And the one we have created young. 3 islands united as one. Let's take the street to be just that island in the sun. They have lived up before them. We going up. That fans that want people to get. Can't find the words to describe how much you give to me. So much things we take for granted, but so much things they give to me. It's tranquility. Family, community. No matter what I go in the waters, for that woman's for my heart. Cause it's better to go like you Tears we show and water,
The current Pity Matnik.
They cast their down. They say that the country is in decline. It's Santico. Acts like she don't ready for no rain. In fact, they know that she has been in rivers in that What I am her son, and so it was. You understand? And there was nothing just doing so a simple message. Exercise restraint. I want to tell you that I was frustrated. I'm getting up. Jesus. She's still not your name. I sent it. Was many others who are still in a lot of trouble, unstable. If Christopher it's not a secret. She has somewhere to go. I will not she's still working. Still not your friend. She take that fucking retreat. That's what I'm getting. So we have why don't you? We got countries here out there. That's not some serious nonsense. Yeah, it's like cheese and chalk. I like fancy that. We think of countries there. Can end of the system. Why do we little country slowly marching? Why I see the not getting up. She's still on your face. It's like that bar. She make it on one. Just to one show. It's a black and gold. Anyone in a dice police. So, back and forth. So, she's Come celebrate. Oh, big 50. The big 50. Yes, they kidnapped me from Africans, then we are over the Caribbean. Hey! England, oh, you, ancestors. But our progress never give up in struggle. Never struggle. And our progress of independence. Independence. So my friend, we must talk to find our independent papers. All the things celebrate. All the things I want to keep what we looking forward to preparation and a party. Fight on the air, get time. Whoa, whoa, whoa. After all, coming up on really that. Yeah, I love that you celebrate the sometimes you are little baby. But that's the you try to come with oh, yo. But they don't know about your history. All the things you went through was so much for you. Yet you had things that you have to tell them. You son beautiful children. This is the land that has been people like you and Marie. This is the land and the Peter that champion Granny. I'm like, oh, let's see, we got everything is a big we don't talk much about your troubles. No, no. You have been through many struggles. That's true. Yes, you're out of all the rebels. Yeah, yeah. Proving resilience. Other people. Some and comic. Yes, you feel like you must try to destroy this island. Yes, we're standing strong on that nation. This is the land that we remember of this country. This is the land, the right father, every part you carry. That's not right. Let's celebrate. Let's we have got village angelic always pick up and just stuff like we have that's the I'm ready to be. Everybody, and up like with me, and up like and up like and up like
Yes, this is the land of my birth. All right, that was the man Randy Isaac. Still is doing what he's doing and I'm here with you tonight. And time for me to kick the chair to the rear to get out of here. Can you imagine? The time is up on us. We got to get out of here. And I really do appreciate your support, guys. Please help us to become and to have and to hold and to make us better than we are right now. So again, the Big 50 is here, and we got to celebrate our 50 years of independence. Yes, 50 years, and Grenada is moving up and up and up. Big 50. Yes, we're not gonna trade or change, but get better. When I say not trade or change, not for less, but for greater. And I know that we are moving up and up and up and up and up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everything Grenadians, everything Grenada right here. And we really look forward to having a bigger, better, and grander time. Tomorrow morning, I'll be here, back here, for a short while. We have a Grenada Connection at 3 o'clock. I'll be back here with Raphael Paul, 2 o'clock actually, with Raphael Paul. And as he comes up with the Heart of the Matter, that will be taking place tomorrow right here on Gem FM. So join Raphael Paul tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Grenada time and 2 p.m. Canada time, right here on Gem FM, the Heart of the Matter. Don't forget, all right? Sunday afternoon, the Legal Eyes with Ewart Lane, the holder of 2 master's degree, will be here on Gem FM as well. We're doing what he's doing. And yeah, having a wonderful time right here with you as we continue to do what we do. Stay tuned for more music as I get out of here. Listen to us, those of you who are on here, want to get out, www.gemfm.ca. That's where the music continues. So come listen to us there. Again, thank you. Thank Ms. Dawn Francois for getting up some of our busy schedule time to be here with us tonight on Gem FM. We thank you and we appreciate every moment that you have spent here with us tonight. God bless you and make you a blessing as you continue to walk this road of success. May you continue to pave the way for those behind. Continue your good work. Amen. All right. One up. I'm out of here with this one.
Was in that in this their country, in this their country. Oh, so very ordinary, can both be the check. Because any contributing From among the hills, from among the hills, yes, I'll go. For that you shall be she's second to none. Come see, left to feeling and see. Our nation found in spite country. Found in spite country. You see that you know that sweet feeling, sweet feeling. Sweet feeling, not so distant. Walk away from me.